all these logistics may have been a factor why they did not want to travel back home to cast their vote. So that's one of the challenges of any elections, right? To make sure that there is voters who are working away from their hometown will be able to travel back. So firstly, I do believe that people will travel back if we provide them with enough time frame. And that's why for many organizations, civil society organizations, us, Bersih and all that, we've been urging the Elections Commission to announce the date earlier, right? Because we've known about this, the state elections for actually since last year. There was a meeting between the Menteri Besars where they agreed that they will dissolve their state assembly at around the same time. There was already an agreement, not mistaken, end of last year, early this year. So which means that SPR should have had more than enough time to sort of plan and see, let's set an early enough date, a suitable date, and I think why not announce it earlier, right? So that more Malaysians can make their plans properly, get babysitters, and get a leave and all that stuff, so that they're able to travel back. I think that's a very basic thing that we are able to do. So I think that's the first part. But second thing is that inevitably for the working class, they will have a lower voting turnout rate lah. This is something that we cannot avoid. If you look at the GE15, GE14 voters between the ages of 25 to 45 especially, and these are your prime working age voters, there was a significant reduction in terms of the voter turnout rate for this community, just because, as I said earlier, sometimes it's additional costs to travel, taking leave is a challenge, trying to find babysitter is a challenge, right? All these logistics may have been a factor why they did not want to travel back home to cast their vote. So yes, there will be a drop. However, I think the government can mitigate it and reduce it by early announcements. So for us, we're going to continue the work that we did during the last general elections. So a few things that we will do, right? We'll work together with certain NGOs, certain organizations to go on the ground and to go to certain universities, schools, institutions of higher learning, and go and make sure that we educate the public and make sure that they are aware what is a PRN, why is it important, and to please go back and vote. So that's the first and foremost important part. Number two is that the power of social media cannot be underestimated, and for me, I think that any politician, any NGO, anyone in the political sphere that is underestimating the power of social media, I think it's a real problem, or it's a real flaw, right? Because you look at the impact of TikTok, for example, in the Filipino elections, in the Thai elections, and even if you look at how it impacted our general elections, how PN, Perikatan Nasional, did a very, very effective strategy utilizing TikTok, you can see that there's a huge impact onto all these social media platforms. So for us, in the last election, we invested heavily. I had an initiative where it was 1 TikTok per day, right? So we went all out on TikTok. We produced a lot of content, and that had a lot of traction. So that was one thing. So we will continue that either by producing TikToks or by doing a lot more TikTok lives to have constant engagements with potential voters, especially young voters. Whatever question they have of us, whatever question they have about democracy or elections, we want to be able to answer them properly, right? And the last part, of course, as I mentioned, or as we did before, is the idea of Vote Malaysia, right? Postal votes, to make sure that we maximize all the votes from overseas voters, but also to create that inspiration factor where voters in Malaysia right now are looking at overseas Malaysians and thinking, hey, if these guys are sacrificing so much time, energy and money to even make their single ballot count, why can't I just be a bit more hardworking and go out and vote? Why can't I just drive back a little bit? Why can't I just take a little bit of effort and go and vote? I think that inspiration factor will ideally make everyone want to come out to vote.